Hey BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. It is Friday. Thank you. I am so glad. I feel like I've had 2 weeks just like smashed together. Okay, first up, I made a promise. Every Friday Reads, I was gonna shout something out, even if it's not necessarily like a YouTube related thing. And I was gonna talk about a video that I watched this week. So, shout out is that two of our dearest friends from Missoula happened to be driving through our town, and we were able to have lunch with them. It was wonderful. Just felt like a friendship that you cannot see someone for so long, and then the next time you see them, you just pick things right back up. So that has by far and away been the highlight. Both Jason and I have been sick. Yeah, it's been rough. And I also saw a great video Read by Fred. There's this little phenomenon going on called What's Cheering Me Up? I believe it started with a beauty blogger, and a couple people on BookTube have made videos like that, and Gina from Gina Stan Your Books kind of almost turned it into a tag. I'm sorry, Gina, I will get to it. But anyway, Read by Fred did kind of his interpretation of it, and I really enjoyed it, and I really, yeah, I found it really refreshing, and says such charming, sweet things about his spouse. So yeah, it's a great video. I will link to it down below. All right, you guys, 2 major surprises this week. First one is I found a cat turd in the library. Okay, this is like sacred ground, you guys. I told Jason, he freaked out. So anyway, I think it was just an accident. I don't think it's gonna be a repetitive thing, but I certainly was not expecting that today. I was like, oh, little blue. Anyway, I know you didn't want to hear about that. What we really want to talk about is the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. Which one went to not Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. It went to The Netanyahus by Joshua Cohen. Oh, well, you guys can see that. The subtitle is an account of a minor and ultimately even negligible episode in the history of a very famous family. So, my understanding is that this book kind of merges fiction and nonfiction a little bit, so that could be really interesting. This was on a website that I frequently go to called pprize.com. They always have a list of predictions every year. Last year's winner, The Night Watchman, that went to Louise Erdrich, was like number 11. This year's winner, The Netanyahus, was number 9 on their list. Number 1 being Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. So anyway, not a single library in my entire state owns The Netanyahus, so I had to call and grovel and beg and say I was wrong about the love songs. And, could they please order this book? So, which I am sure someplace it is frantically being printed and bound up in large quantities. It's a very big deal, and I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. It seems very different, and I always feel like the Pulitzer Prize winner is trying to say something about America in this particular moment. And so I'm really curious as to why it went to that book. So we'll get to that book at some point this year, whenever my library gets it, whenever I get it. What have I been reading? I have been reading Dog Years by Mark Doty. Mark Doty is a poet, and he has written a couple memoirs. This is still, I mean, it's animal books. They're sad. They're sad. And this one is almost, I don't know if it's more sad than most. You know from the very, very beginning of the book that the two dogs that he's going to be talking about are going to die. And yeah, there's some wonderful, just delightful stories about his dogs, Arden and Bo. I get a huge kick out of that. This book is actually smaller than it even looks. There's lots of white space, and then he does these entr'actes between chapters that are just sort of like about dogs in general. So like he gets the opportunity to look at old photographs of either famous dogs or dogs owned by famous people, things like that. So that kind of derails me a little bit, actually. There's a part of me that wishes that he would just stick to the dogs, but I don't know, maybe that was fluffing it up a little bit. It's only 216 pages long, so I feel very confident that I will have this book finished before the weekend is up. So I'm super excited about that. The other thing I started reading, because the universe has just been pointing all kinds of signs to me toward Mary Oliver. And this is the only collection of her poetry we own, American Primitive, which won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 1984. I read just a few poems in this. So good. So good. So, I don't know. Just may have to... I may have to hunt down some more Mary Oliver. So anyway, so I started reading this week. And then because of the Pulitzer decision, so I don't have to read an 800-page book, the Netanyahus is only like 250 some pages. I have kind of a pile of books for the rest of May and June. I don't think I can read them all, but I'm going to try so hard, you guys. So these are the books, including the dog years, but these are the books. I said I was going to read them last year, and I haven't yet. And some of them are a little bit chunky. The Women's Room, even though it looks like the smallest one, actually has really dense type font. So, but I do want to read these books. It's not... I saw a video this week about, like, if you're not enjoying a book, like, DNF it. But I really do want to read them. And The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which won the Pulitzer, I promised you guys I would read this last year, a reread of this, because I really don't remember anything about it. But again, it's just a really chunky book. So those are my main goals. And then for maybe Midrash, Jason bought me this book called Liturgy of the Ordinary by Tish Harrison Warren, Sacred Practices in Everyday Life. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued by the cover, actually, peanut butter and jelly. And it's just every chapter is a different practice, if you will. Like there's a chapter about making the bed, brushing teeth. Let's see. There's one fighting with my husband, checking email. So yeah, I think I could get through this in addition, like while I'm reading some other stuff, because I do want to participate in maybe Midrash. So this could be a little dipping of the toe into that pool. And then finally, I saw a great film this week that I want to recommend to you guys. And I had notes about it, and I don't know where the notes are, so I'm just gonna freewheel it. I watched The Apartment by, it was directed by Billy Wilder. It came out in 1960, It stars Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine, super young, holy cow. And it's just, yeah, a black and white film that won, it won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. But there's so much of it to me felt like almost like a play, with the exception of these giant office scenes where there's just like this coat rack and these hat racks that go all the way back. This big office, office floor full of people, and this guy is just trying to, you know, get a little bit ahead, like move up the ladder. And so he periodically lets, well, more than that, he lets these people who are above him in the corporate chain borrow his apartment to kind of carry out their affairs, even though so the men are all married. He sees what happens to these women when they realize that these men are not going to leave their wives, and yeah, they're not going to give it all up for their mistresses. And he really experiences a transformation. Shirley MacLaine's character, yeah, it's really, really good. We watched it on Amazon Prime, so if you have access to that streaming platform, I would really recommend it. I just found it intimate and funny at times. Yeah, just and dealing with some like pretty heavy issues for 1960. There's quite a bit about suicide in there. So maybe I should have said that sooner. But yeah, it was just a really great movie. So I just wanted to recommend that all to you guys. Again, I would love to hear what you've been reading or watching or listening to down below in the comment section. If you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can give this video a thumbs up, or you can leave an emoji. You can just say hi. It's totally fine. So BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you later. Bye.